In the bustling town of Ibadan, where life moved faster than the chaotic traffic, Kunle sat on the edge of his bed, staring at his phone. His room was small, filled with shadows of hopes and dreams, some realized, many still waiting. He scrolled through the text messages again, his heart pounding in his chest, messages from a stranger accusing him of not being the father of his own child. Kunle blinked, and his voice barely above a whisper. "Ah, what is all this nonsense?" Across the room, his wife, BC, bustled about, preparing breakfast. Her laughter usually filled the home with warmth. Today, it was notably absent. "BC," Kunle began hesitantly, watching her stir the pot of yam porridge. "When did you last see our old friend Tunde?" BC glanced over, curiosity bright in her eyes. "Tunde? Ah, it's been ages. Why?" Kunle struggled to hold her gaze, each second feeling like an eternity. "I got a strange message. Someone says, 'The baby isn't mine.'" The spoon fell from Bissie's hand, clattering against the pot, splattering yam and spices onto the tiles. "What? Who would say such a thing, Kunle?" Her shock seemed genuine, yet doubt tickled Kunle's mind like an itch he could not reach. At the local market, rumours travelled faster than whispered secrets. Kunle walked through the narrow paths, greeting neighbours with forced smiles, each one examining him as if searching for a crack in the facade of his marriage. "Kunle, oh," called Mrs. Ada, the market woman selling a kara. "I saw your beautiful boy the other day. He resembles you, oh, no doubt." "Thank you, Ma," Kunle replied, his smile tightening. Each word, though meant as a compliment, only deepened the unease in his heart. Later that evening, Kunle sat with his friend Dele under the old almond tree behind his home. The day's heat clung to the air like a stubborn child. "You see, Kunle, you must be careful," Dele advised, scratching his beard thoughtfully. "These days people will say anything out of jealousy or spite." Kunle nodded, though his mind was elsewhere. The words from the message haunted him. What if there's some truth in it, Dele?" Kunle's voice broke the evening's calm like a pebble shattering the surface of still water. Returning home, Kunle found Bisi seated by the balcony, the quiet of the night wrapped around her like a shawl. "Kunle," she began, eyes reflecting the moonlight, "what do you plan to do about this message?" "Tomorrow, we'll visit the hospital," Kunle said firmly. "I'll talk to the nurse, check the records." Bisi placed a hand over her heart. "I'm scared, Kunle. What if—" Her words faded into the night, leaving Kunle to grapple with his fears alone. The hospital was a maze of sterile corridors and the distant hum of machinery, an unfriendly place for a man seeking truth. Kunle and Bisi walked hand in hand, faces mask-like with determination and dread. Nurse Falake, an old acquaintance from school days, greeted them. Her face was etched with lines of compassion. "Kunle, Bisi, what brings you here?" Kunle hesitated, then, with a deep breath, plunged forward. "I need to see the files from the birth." Nurse Falake's eyes widened slightly. "Is everything all right, Kunle?" It's a matter of urgency," he replied, voice betraying his calm exterior. In the tiny office, Folake rifled through drawers, her hands steady but quick. Kunle watched, time stretching painfully thin. Bisi sat quietly, her grip on Kunle's hand tighter with every passing second. The nurse finally produced a sealed envelope. "Here," she said, placing it in Kunle's hands, her expression unreadable. Kneeling beside Bisi, Kunle tore it open, feeling as if every breath might be his last. The air was heavy, the quiet tense. Bisi watched him, tremors visible in her smile. As Kunle scanned the paper, his heart stuttered like a broken clock. The words blurred beneath tears he didn't realize he was shedding. Then, clarity. The results, inconclusive. A fresh wave of confusion and anger. "This doesn't make sense," Kunle whispered. His voice shook like that of a man exiled from the warmth of certainty. Bisi tried to peek at the paper. "What is it, Kunle?" Kunle crumpled the envelope in his fist. "It's inconclusive, Bisi. They can't say, for sure. What do I do now?" Falake reached out in a comforting gesture. "We can run another test. The lab is competent. You can trust us." Back home, Kunle sat on the edge of the living room sofa. The television murmured with chatter from a forgotten soap opera. He felt BC enter the room before she spoke. "Kunle," her voice was soft, pleading. "What do we do if it turns out bad?" He couldn't meet her eyes. "I don't know," he confessed, each word a lead weight. "We'll have to wait and see." BC wrapped her arms around him. "I need you to trust me, to trust us." Kunle leaned into her touch, aching to believe, but disbelief whispered poisonously in his ear like a song he couldn't unhear. The days dragged on, heavy with a palpable silence that settled between them like a fog. In the evenings, Kunle drowned himself in work, trying to escape the echoing uncertainties. Neighbours whispered louder than the cicadas at night. Was he really the father? Did she betray him? Questions hung in the air, unanswered and unforgiving. One night, as the rain fell softly against the roof, Bissy held Kunle close. "No matter what happens, Kunle, you will always have me." Her promise felt like a whisper in a storm, faint yet defiant against the coming tide. The hospital visit came again, overcast by a sky heavy with rain. Furlake met them at the door with a smile that gave nothing away. Quietly, she led them to a private room, the only sound the squeak of nurse shoes on linoleum. Kunle's breath was shallow, his mind a cacophony of imagined outcomes. He held BC's trembling hand. The room felt like a cell holding its breath. "Nurse Furlake, we are ready," Kunle said, his voice bold in the face of fear, or perhaps because of it. She nodded, taking the previously collected samples, knowing the gravity contained within those vials. As they waited in this bland waiting room, Kunle stared at the ceiling, counting the cracks to distract himself. BC rested her head on his shoulder, eyes closed, seeking solace in the ticking clock's rhythmic promise of closure. Eventually, the door creaked open, and Furlake stood before them, envelope in hand again. Her face was grave. Kunle rose slowly, each movement deliberate. "Is this one conclusive?" he asked, unable to disguise the desperation in his voice. Furlake nodded, offering him the envelope. "This test is definitive." Kunle's fingers felt numb as they enclosed the envelope. BC watched him, her own breath halted. The world was suspended in that small space between hope and despair. Opening the envelope, Kunle read quickly, and then slower, disbelieving. His eyes darted back and forth over the page. His shoulders sagged with relief and disbelief. The test was positive. He was indeed the father. It seemed the shadows had lied, no betrayal to speak of, no deceit within their home. Turning to BC, Kunle's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry," he whispered, voice cracking under the weight of guilt and relief. BC leaned in, wrapping him in her arms. "It's okay, Kunle. We face this together." Furlake watched them with a smile, the weight of silent fears lifting under the warmth of shared relief. But just as they began to find their footing in this newfound peace, a phone buzzed sharply in Kunle's pocket. Fishing it out, his eyes widened at the string of messages, sent by the same anonymous source, each more threatening than the last. Alarm bells rang in his head. The mystery wasn't solved. More shadows lurked beyond this small victory. The true battle for their peace and maybe their lives was only just beginning. Kunle's phone buzzed again in quick succession, each beep sharp as a dagger. BC watched as he read through gritted teeth, every word like fuel to the fire brewing inside him. "This person won't back down, Kunle," BC said softly, worry tightening her grip on his arm. "They are threatening everything, Bissy. Our family, our reputation. They seem to want us shattered," Kunle replied, his voice steely with determination and simmering anger. A thought tickled the back of his mind. "I have to find out who this is. I need answers." The next day, Kunle confided in Daly under the shade of the almond tree, the only refuge in the sweltering heat. "These messages, Daly, they're relentless. I can't rest until I uncover who's behind this," Kunle explained, voice heavy with resolve. "You want revenge, is that it?" Daly probed gently, sensing the impending conflict in Kunle's heart. Kunle was silent, the lines around his eyes shadowed by doubt. "I want justice," he said, though the whispered call of vengeance spoke louder inside him. That evening, Kunle returned home to find his mother, Mama Kunle, seated with BC. Her matronly aura filled the room with an air of wisdom that seemed to put all disturbances on pause. "Kunle, my son," she began, eyes gentle yet piercing, BC explained the troubles you face. I've prayed for you both. He nodded slowly, grateful but restless. Thank you, Mama, but I need action, not just prayers, he replied, frustration cracking the words. Mama Kunle smiled knowingly. Prayer is action, my dear. Sometimes it takes more courage to calm the storm within than to weather the one outside. Ignoring the pull of his mother's words, Kunle's pursuit of justice turned into a mission. He spent days visiting local tech shops, hoping someone could trace the messages back to their original sender. Meanwhile, Bissie's once bright laughter remained subdued, overshadowed by the growing tension filling their home. She watched as Kunle drifted further into a world ruled by suspicion, the man she loved slipping away inch by inch. In a small, dimly lit computer shop, Kunle finally found someone willing to help. Tayo, a savvy techie with nimble fingers and a curious grin, agreed to the task for a small fee after hearing Kunle's plight. Just a few days and I'll have something for you, Tayo promised. When Kunle left the shop, the weight of each step felt like a journey through quicksand. Despite this lead, the disquiet in his heart grew louder, a whispered warning he couldn't quite ignore. Back home, Bici approached Kunle as he stood by the window, staring blankly at the night sky. Kunle, she said softly, is this what you really want? To chase shadows and angry words? I feel us slipping away. Kunle turned to her, his eyes clouded with fatigue and heartbreak. I don't know how to stop, Bici. I need to end this. She placed a hand on his chest, feeling the drumming of his heart beneath her palm. All I want is you, Kunle, not the man driven by the need to fight battles he might never win. Days later, Kunle returned to Tayo, heart beating wildly in anticipation of the truth. The techie welcomed him into the back room, laptop open, the pulsing glow illuminating his face. I found the source, Tayo said, pointing to the screen, eyes grave. But Kunle, I don't think you'll like what I found. Kunle braced himself as he stepped forward, unwilling yet compelled to look. The shock was like a physical blow. It was someone he knew, Adamu, an old friend harbouring a hidden grudge from years past. He blamed you for his losses, Kunle. He thought ruining your life would somehow balance the scale, Tayo explained gently. Kunle stood there, numbness flooding his veins. The betrayal twisted something deep inside him, feeding the anger that now demanded to be satisfied. Kunle confronted Adamu the next day, fury and disbelief evident in every word. How could you, Adamu? We were friends. Adamu's eyes were cold, yet there was a flicker of shame. You had everything, Kunle, and I had nothing left when you succeeded. Nothing left but jealousy that has now poisoned everything, Kunle retorted, anger etching lines into his face. Back home, Kunle sat alone in the darkened living room. It was Adamu, a man he once laughed with, shared dreams with. The revenge and anger felt like chains dragging him deeper into despair. In the stillness of the night, Kunle fell to his knees, tears flowing freely. God, I don't understand. I thought I could handle this, but I can't. Show me what I should do. The room remained silent, yet within it something shifted. A heaviness lifted, replaced by a peace he hadn't felt in weeks. Kunle remembered Mama's words, the truth of them resonating now. Prayer is action. Forgiveness is not weakness, but strength. In the quiet of his conviction, he felt God draw near. He knew then what he needed to do. The following day, Kunle visited Adamu, his heart clear and composed. Adamu, I forgive you, he said earnestly, the words carrying the weight of sincerity. Adamu stared at him, confusion mingling with regret. Why? After all I did, why? Because revenge only destroys, but Christ, he offers redemption. Kunle replied, the certainty in his voice resonating with unwavering faith. Leaving Adamu's place, Kunle felt lighter. The burden of vengeance lifted. He returned home to Bisai, his steps sure and free. They sat together that evening, the warmth between them rekindled. With hope anchoring them, they prayed together, thanking God for the clarity and peace that only he could give. As Kunle opened the Bible left on their nightstand, he read aloud from Romans 12:19, Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. In that moment they realized pain had been the path to purpose, and through faith they were truly free. The shadows outside their window darkened, but the light inside shone clearer, a beacon of what forgiveness truly meant. The scars remained, but their hearts were whole. And as they lay to rest, peace blanketed their home, a reminder that in the end, it was love and faith that truly kept them safe.
Thank you so much for listening to this intriguing story. I hope it touched you or taught you something. For more stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. And guys, if you'd like to see a part 2, or you have thoughts on what happened, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.